Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnetti, thanks for being here on a Monday. Nice to be here. You know, I'm a little bit tired. We finished up our run of 12 Angry Men on Saturday night. For those of you who came, thank you very much. For those of you who didn't, I'm sorry for you. It was a great show. It was a great theater experience. Kind of melancholy when it's over, but that's how it goes. But hey, the football game yesterday. Now, look, I'm going to tell you flat out. First of all, I don't care who stands or kneels, okay? I like football, all right? But Seahawks, please, please, I can't take the up and down. Just dominate from the beginning of the game, all right? I don't like exciting games. I don't like high-scoring games. I just like you to be in control because I can't take it. I'm getting old. My heart's going. But it was a nice win yesterday, wasn't it? Oh, Richard Sherman. I ran into a guy the other day who told me that they should get rid of Richard Sherman. Come on. You know, 2 picks yesterday? All right, that's enough football, enough sports. I just want to talk about life in general and about having kids because, you know, when my wife and I were first married, we discussed whether we were going to have kids or get a dog, and we wanted to know which was better, so we thought about it, and we couldn't decide whether we wanted to ruin our carpet or ruin our lives. So we decided to have kids. We did decide to have kids. We figured it, and then we learned quickly the best way to get your kids' attention is, you know, people say my kids don't pay attention. Well, this is what you do. Sit down and look comfortable, okay? That's all you got to do. Your kids will give you their attention. And each kid I had was a different experience for me. Now, when Marie, my firstborn, first time she came into the house with a bloody nose, I mean, I freaked. You know, we went, took her, drove her to the emergency room, that kind of stuff. Then when Tony had a bloody nose, I said, hey, go back outside, stop dripping on the carpet. Brought things back a little better into perspective. Now, the American dream, though, has changed. You know, when it used to be own your own home, well, it's not the way it is anymore. Now it is own your own home and have your kids eventually move out for good. That's the new American dream. But hey, Street Talk and other stuff. Now, look, I have got a really good guest today, okay? We're going to have a debate. Dr. Jim Goodwin is here. We're going to talk about gun control. But you stick around. We'll be right back.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house, featuring great family dining in downtown Chelan. We've got burgers, pub fare, and the best barbecue around. Try one of our award-winning sauces made fresh here in-house. So grab the whole gang and come on down. Stormy Mountain Brewing. Beer, barbecue, friends, and beer.
Okay, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnetti. I am very happy to have my good friend, Dr. Jim Goodwin, with us today. Now, Jim, again, somebody you probably already know, but if you don't, you should. Very influential member in our community. Very proud, seriously, to call you a friend of mine. But we're going to talk about gun control today, okay? And major issue. And Jim said something interesting. He said something interesting before we started. 2 old guys are going to figure out what the experts can't. Yeah. Now, we notice that's the case, but I asked Jim specifically here today because Jim's not some run-of-the-mill bleeding heart liberal. Now, you may be a bleeding heart liberal, but...
Well, I'm definitely not run-of-the-mill.
Run-of-the-mill, that is true. But he's a combat veteran from Vietnam, and it was, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 tours.
No, just 1 tour, just 13
one?
months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I brought him on here because you may not agree with either his or my opinions, but you can't argue with Jim's position on this, okay? I mean, you can't argue with his ability to take a position on it. He's, like I say, he's somebody who knows what he's talking about. Well, I think so.
Yeah.
You know, I think you got street cred.
I've got some cred in as far as being a psychologist and just a human being in this society.
Okay,
so,
well, tell us a little bit about your background and how
Right.
come you have the feelings that you do about things. So,
well, hello, everybody. My name is Jim Goodwin, and I'm here to talk.
You're great, baby. ratings just shot through the roof, you know.
I'm role modeling.
We already knew that guy was
Yeah,
nuts.
whoa! I'm role modeling, Mike McNaughty
Okay,
here.
all
Okay, all right, okay. Listen, I'm 70 years old. I'm an old man now. Which reminds me, where's the bathroom? Is it close by?
You're gonna have to hold it.
Oh,
okay.
gee.
I told you. I told him beforehand.
You didn't warn me.
If you're gonna have a problem, bring your Depends. Okay.
I forgot. Okay, but luckily though, for this performance here, I doubled my Prozac. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
you're gonna be in control.
I'm going to be somehow.
You're not gonna go postal on me.
In some kind of control. All right. Who am I? Well, like I said, I'm 70 years old.
Right.
I'm a veteran of Vietnam combat.
Also with the Marine Corps.
In the Marine Corps. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. Came back, went to graduate school on the GI Bill, and became a psychologist for my internship. I did a stint with the U.S. Army as a trainee, a clinical psychologist. And my specialty in those days was PTSD. I was, as well as being a pioneer in depression and Prozac and all those kinds of things, I was a bit of a pioneer with PTSD in the early 80s.
Because that's when they were first discovering it wasn't just combat fatigue, it was...
Well, actually, combat fatigue has changed its name.
Okay.
Okay, combat fatigue has been around forever.
Right.
PTSD has been around forever.
Right.
It's nothing new. But as the years go by, we change the names, and we refine it a little bit. So PTSD got me back in the military again, and I was an Army psychologist for about 8 years.
Really?
Yeah. And then I got out of the Army, came here to Wenatchee, and started my practice. And I found a lot of people, not only, now again, PTSD was my issue, but a lot of people were struggling with depression.
Sure.
And I was one of the first in this town and possibly around the world who really recognized the potential for the kind of therapy that I do, short-term, it's called cognitive therapy,
Right.
and then mixing that with a medication. And Prozac was the primary medication in those days. They've come up with a bunch of them since.
Sure,
since
but you
then.
actually have some national prominence over it.
Well, I'm proud to say international prominence.
right,
Yeah. It got on many TV shows,
Yeah.
and I was very proud. But also, when pioneers are out there, blabbering about what they found, there's lots of Indians out there who shoot arrows at the pioneers.
Sure.
And I took a lot of arrows in those days too. But here I am. And as far as being a very liberal, I grew up liberal.
Sure.
I grew up in a liberal family, and I'm still there. So that's how I look at things. And I think most psychologists, too, are somewhat liberal, pro-social.
Well, yeah, you're in the helping
yeah,
profession.
In the helping
and that,
profession, yeah.
The only ones who aren't liberal in the helping profession are us police officers. So, for some reason, I don't know, we get the crazy.
Yeah,
names,
but you've got no excuse because you became a helping professional yourself
I did,
after
that's
you
true.
retired from the
and
police.
both my kids, even though they're raised in a conservative household, both my kids are very liberal.
Yeah, they are. They are.
I don't know what I did. And my daughter likes country music. I don't know what I did wrong. I tried. I exposed her to rock and roll her whole life. Maybe that was it. She was
Maybe that was
rebellious.
it. Maybe that was it.
Gun control.
All right, gun control. Well, first of all, I don't like the term gun control.
All right.
No, we don't need to control, but we need to have some restrictions. That's the way I kind of look at it. And a lot of now I'm going to talk about some boilerplate issues. Boilerplate means everybody's heard them. It's we go past all the boilerplate on the internet and we hit I accept because we don't want to read all that all that stuff. But it's not in the Constitution. People keep yelling, it's in the Constitution. It's not in the Constitution, the Second Amendment. It's a Second Amendment. It's in the Bill of Rights.
Right.
Okay, so don't stop yelling about the Constitution. It's an amendment to the Constitution.
Okay.
And amendments are just that, amendments. It's a change. Now, does that mean they're going to change and take away guns? No. I think the problem with many people is that they overgeneralize so many things. All Muslims are bad. All blacks are bad, all Jews are bad, you name it, Mike Magnotti's bad. Who knows? I don't know. But people
That may have more truth than
people
than we'd like
overgeneralize.
to admit.
People overgeneralize all the time. It's not, the way I look at it, it's not that we want to control or take away guns. Don't overgeneralize to that. But we need some restrictions. I've got a cheat sheet here. Because
Well, go
I'm
ahead,
old.
throw a few out.
I'm old. I'm 70. Okay.
Okay.
These are some CD Centers for Disease Control stats. Okay, for 2014. Now, again, this is boilerplate. You've heard it over and over again. The number of deaths from automobile wrecks, 33,736. Okay.
Is this annually?
That's annual. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
Annually for 2014. Now, the interesting thing about all that is we have recalls because we know cars are dangerous. We have recalls. We have safety technology improving cars all the time.
Right.
We have extensive driver testing, especially as you get older. There's all kinds of restrictions involved in driving a car, and cars aren't made to kill. Cars are made to transport us.
Right.
Okay. All right. In the U.S., 2014, again, number of firearm deaths, 33,594. Okay. What about recalls? What about safety tech? What about testing, and so on and so forth? Very, very little. And firearms were made for killing.
Right.
There's just one purpose for firearms.
Well, two
killing.
actually, but go ahead.
Well, for killing. Either you kill animals or you kill people.
Okay.
I mean, that's what they're for. All right. Oh, yeah, you've got to be quiet now until you get your time.
I am.
You're having a hard time. I know. Okay. All right. Firearm homicides, 2014, again, 11,008. Okay. That's a fair number. Firearm suicides, get a load of this, though, 21,386 in 2014. Okay. Now, what's interesting is because of that, the CDC charts all this, and it's become a mental health issue. Okay. Now, does that mean everybody is, oh my God, what are we going to? The interesting thing is, it's not the real mentally ill per se that do it. It's always, I didn't know. I never would have imagined.
Right.
It's the, quote, normal. And normal doesn't mean good. It means average, everyday type person. Okay? As a psychologist, I know normal, everyday people aren't necessarily as healthy as they can be. Okay. So the interesting thing about all this, just recently, the president took away the law forbidding weapons for people that have been diagnosed with severe mental illnesses and so on. That doesn't make any sense. But so
Okay,
be
well,
it.
look, let me come back a little bit. before we have to
Okay,
take a
go
break.
ahead.
Okay, the first point about the Constitution. A lot of
Right.
people would disagree. A lot of people would say, yeah, the Bill of Rights were written about the same time of the Constitution.
No, it wasn't. It
Okay.
was 1791, Constitution 1776, and even a little bit before.
Okay, but it's
25 years later.
All right, but it's constitutional, okay? It is. It is. The Bill of Rights is part of, like you say,
We
it's
don't
an
change the
addition to-
Constitution. We change amendments. 1991 was the last time we made a new amendment. There are like 27 amendments, changes,
And what
but
I'm-
they're not. We don't change the
And
Constitution.
What
we
I'm
make
saying,
amendments.
what I'm saying is that the people are going to argue that point and say it is constitutional. Now, again, as it says at the end of the show, the opinions of NCWLife.com are not necessarily mine, and these aren't necessarily all my opinions. But this is what people would say. People would come back and say, "Jim, you're wrong. It's in the Constitution because it is in the Bill of Rights." Okay, and that could be called a matter of interpretation. Okay.
Isn't this whole issue?
A matter of interpretation to a
Exactly.
certain degree,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
However, people will come back and say in that wording is shall not be infringed. And I know a lot of the argument is this has to do with a militia. It doesn't have to do with private gun ownership. But if you look back on what the founders of the Constitution were interested in, they were interested in government tyranny and government oppression and a different government controlling them because they couldn't control weapons. If you look at the other amendments or the other things they were looking at, you can't quarter You know, the government can't come to me and say, you have to let this soldier live in your house. The government can't come to me and say, without a warrant, I can't search through your papers. All these things were put into for protection for us against an overreaching government.
Right.
And that's what people who are pro-Second Amendment folks are going to say, that's what the Second Amendment is. They don't want the government telling us they can take away our weapons because our weapons are there to protect us if the government begins to overreach.
Okay. How often
And now
in
one
America?
one other thing I want to say, oh boy, I can't remember what it was. I let you talk too long.
That's what you get.
I couldn't remember the point. What was one of the last points you made? Not about mental health, but one right before that.
Number of suicides?
Purpose of firearms.
Oh, yeah.
There are plenty of people who target shoot. They don't hunt. A lot of them do. But there are, but I agree with you. I used to tell my officers, the gun is there to kill.
Yeah, that's what a gun's for.
Okay,
The firearm
it's
is
not
for.
there to threaten. It's not there to warn. It's there to stop a threat, and that means killing someone.
Okay, well-
and that I felt put it in better perspective for us for its proper use and application. Okay, but a lot of people come back and say, I use my guns all the time, but I use them specifically for target shooting. So I think you'll give me that point.
All right, I'll give you that point.
All right.
One of my main questions about all this is when I hear I need them for protection.
All right, well, we'll get to that in a sec, but we need to take a
Okay.
break.
Oh, all right.
Okay? Because I
Okay.
want to address that too, because I think
Yeah.
you and I are going to be more in agreement on this part.
right.
Okay? But hey, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnani. I'm talking with Dr. Jim Goodwin today. We're talking about gun control, baby. We're not going to cover everything here, but we're going to give you something to think about. But hey, stick around. We'll be right back.
When it comes to tough, versatile workhorses, nothing compares to Kubota's full line of RTV series utility vehicles. Engineered to last and designed to deliver, Kubota's RTV X series doesn't just lead the way on rugged dependability, it leads the pack. From big jobs to small projects and daily chores. Choose from America's top-selling family of diesel utility vehicles to help you do it all.
The Kubota dealer in North Central Washington is Valley Tractor and Equipment in the Baker Flats Industrial Park, East Wenatchee.
For plumbing, heating, or cooling repair, Patriot will be right there.
Is your home as comfortable as you like? This Lennox dealer can help.
Make your home comfortable with a Lennox system from Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Call Patriot today.
Patriot Plumbing, heating and cooling will give your home a hug.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Oh, here we are. Patriot, go away. Go away. Take that. There we go. Hey, Street Talk and other stuff. I'm talking with Jim Goodwin, talking about gun control today. And you wanted to mention right before the break about people saying they want a gun for protection. Go ahead with
Yeah,
that.
guns for protection. It sounds like a great idea, but protection from what? How often do we get threatened where we need to kill somebody?
See, I agree with you here, okay? I mean, the odds of if you're going to be the victim of a crime, it's going to be a car prowl. Okay, but people see the news, all right? People see the horror stories of what happens.
Okay, there we go.
And that's what they're picking up on, okay? And, people come to me and say, ex-police officer, should I buy a gun? And I say, well, first of all, Second Amendment says you have the right to. Second, what's your purpose? And they say that, protection. I say, third, do not buy a handgun, until you take a certified class. And then I give him Guy Miner's name, and
Yeah, Guy's a buddy of mine.
He's a
Yeah,
great guy.
yeah, he's a good guy.
You take a safety course because you don't own a gun indiscriminately. Now, third, I say, you'll never use it. People have no idea, okay, what it's like. Now, again, I in no way in any way commenting on your combat experience. But police officer shootings and home invasion shootings, they happen within 5 to 7 feet, okay? I pointed my gun at people. I had the opportunity to take a shot at someone who was pointing a gun at me. I didn't do it, and I thank God I didn't. Because you know what it's like, okay? People have no idea the idea of taking someone's life, and you don't buy a handgun unless you're prepared for that possibility, if that's what you're buying it for. But again, the odds of that happening are very slim. But I always tell them this: you want to protect your house, get a yapping dog. Get one of them little schnauzers that just yaps all the time. Nobody's going to break into your house with a dog going, so.
Well, I can't argue with you. I agree wholeheartedly. But again, people spend too much time in front of the TV, and if it bleeds, it leads.
Right.
And,
Very much so.
Fear, the present atmosphere in Washington, fear is a big seller of all kinds of things. And so there are a lot of frightened people out there that feel like guns are important. The problem is, as I said before, there are 21,386 suicides with firearms.
And most of them are by firearms.
And most of them by firearms, yeah. And they're not necessarily long guns. I mean, they're usually revolvers, automatics. And you put yourself more at a risk of suicide than you do of getting attacked by somebody.
And that's something all us mental health professionals realize. If you've got a client that's got severe depression and suicidal ideation, one of the first things you ask them is, do you have firearms in the house or one of their loved ones?
Exactly.
And if so, can you get them somewhere that they're safe?
Yeah.
But in interest of time, I want to back up and say something else you said and challenge it.
Yeah.
You're saying no one wants to take away everybody's guns. I don't think that's true. I think there are people out there with the agenda that once they get more gun restrictions in place, they want to deny private ownership of firearms to citizens. There are people with that agenda. So.
Okay, absolutely. Of course there are.
Yeah.
And there are people out there that want people to have grenade launchers and rocket launchers and machine guns. Granted, there are always that percentage. And people talk, well, there's a slippery slope. And the slippery slope is that if we restrict, can't have automatic weapons, if we restrict magazines, if we restrict butt stock, whatever they call those things, and large magazines, eventually...
Bump stock.
Bump stock.
And I didn't even know they existed.
No, neither did I. But if they restrict all those things, and I'm talking about not control, restrictions.
Right.
If they restrict all those things, we'll eventually lose control of having firearms. And I'm saying, no, it's in the Constitution. We will not lose firearms, but we will attempt to restrict them like we do any other.
But you will admit there are people who their agenda is to repeal the Second Amendment.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, there's extremists on every end.
Because there are many people who will deny that, even though they know it's not true.
Well, no,
yeah, there are.
There's always that 10% we used to say in the military. Absolutely. Absolutely. They overgeneralize, though.
Let me throw one more thing out at you, okay? A lot of people say, well, the Founding Fathers were talking about muskets, and if you go on the internet, you can see some guy trying to shoot all his office workers with a musket.
Yeah.
I think they were talking about the current technology. They weren't talking about muskets in general. And I don't know if the Founding Fathers, if they were here right now, would say you can't have an AK-47 or an, what is it? AR-15 is the
AR-15
civilian model.
Civilian,
I mean, we don't know what they would say. But just what's your response to that? That they weren't talking about muskets, but they were talking about what was the current technology. Does that argument make sense?
Well, you see, in my perception, it doesn't make sense. It was 1791 when they came up with that amendment. How could they predict bump stocks? Well, now they want silencers, bump stocks. I mean, how could they predict that the weapons were going to be such as they are? Again, they were talking strictly, right here and now, unless they had clairvoyance somehow and were able to know. I think that's a spurious kind of response to that issue.
And I kind of think it is too when people say that, that they know what the Founding Fathers would think, because they don't really necessarily know what they would think.
No.
Now, I kind of think I know what they think because they look at the totality of the amendments protecting us against an overreaching government.
Well, even with an overreaching government, what good is an AR-15 or we've got a militia out there. It's called our National Guard.
Right.
They'll come after us if and they've done that.
And I have no plans on taking part against these people.
Yeah.
All right, well, one last thing, okay, before we take a break, okay? If a private citizen who is a legal gun owner turns their guns in, as some people are requesting, will that really make a difference?
I think gun owners who collect weapons, who have large catches, I think 3% of the population has about 90% of the firearms out there. Those are people that don't cause much trouble. It's those people that recently have bought weapons, AR-15s, 6 hours with big magazines, etc., with big clips. But I don't think it's going to. I don't think that's an issue.
Okay, all right. Well, we got to go. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back with your probably worthless opinion. And Jim, I know we didn't even get anywhere near covering this today, but I really, really thank you for coming on today.
Well, I want to thank you for the coffee and and for a chance to see you again. The last time we were to get together, I had an automobile
I had a car wreck.
accident
You stiffed
and missed
me
it.
on- you stiffed
I
me on
stiffed you
lunch.
on lunch. Yeah, you
Okay,
owe me.
but-
I owe you next time.
Okay, we'll do it. All right, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati, you stick around. We'll be right back. So.
Pets are not your whole life, but they do make your life whole. At Paws and Claws Veterinary Hospital, not only do they understand that fact, they live it every day. Dr. Baez and her staff at Paws and Claws love dogs and cats so much they've dedicated their lives to the well-being of our four-legged friends. They offer compassionate care with a personal touch. Paws and Claws Veterinary Hospital on the corner of 4th and Nile in East Wenatchee, or call 888-PAWS.
Antique Mall at Cashmere is Trade Dollar Coins' new location. Whether you're in search for coins, currency, gold, or silver, you'll find what you're looking for. From coin enthusiasts to avid collectors, find coins rarely seen from around the world. Whether you're buying or selling or need supplies, Trade Dollar Coins is the place to be. Located in Antique Mall at Cashmere. Open 7 days a week.
All right, Street Talk and Other Stuff. We're now down to your probably worthless opinion, where every week I read a letter from a viewer, okay? And I haven't read this one, so this one's new, okay?
Oh, okay.
They get pretty interesting sometimes. Okay. Dear Mad Dog, what is the problem with this country and holidays? My gosh, don't get me started. Why can't the capitalists leave everything alone? I mean, when I was a kid on Halloween, we didn't have these elaborate costumes that cost $1 million. Well, that's true. We didn't have all the crazy props and decorations that break the bank. In our day, we borrowed one of our dad's old shirts, put some coffee grounds on our face, and we went as a hobo. Remember that?
I remember those days. Yeah.
Or we cut a hole in a sheet and bingo, we were a ghost. People don't do that anymore.
No.
I don't go to Halloween parties. You know why? I'm costume challenged. I can't come up with anything good.
I can't afford them.
No, this guy's got a point. But on the other hand, remember the candy we used to get? Big, full-size Hershey bars. That's true. A big hunk of Bonomo's Turkish taffy. Whatever happened to that? I haven't heard of that. Did you remember Bonomo's Turkish taffy? Does anybody out there remember Bonomo's Turkish taffy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
It was
they were
they were good
full-size bars of
yeah.
candy.
Yeah.
Okay, or a Snickers bar that weighed $1/4 pound. Now people hand out fun-sized Almond Joys that are so small they could only be considered fun if you shoot them out of a potato gun, which you can't. Well, it's true. You get these stupid little pieces. Come on. If they got something like that, if we got something like that when we were kids, the house would have been soaped up and
Egged.
egged. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, where was I here? Why did everything have to be commercialized, and why did the important part of Halloween, the candy, get lost in the shuffle? Signed, Missing the Times When Halloween Was a Diabetic's Nightmare. That's what he signed. Okay, Dear Diabetic's Nightmare. Look, I'm 100% with you on this, okay? I don't get invited to costume parties anymore because, again, when I had a beard and I had army jackets, I just used to go as Castro. And last time I went to a party, I took an old leather jacket from the police department and I put Sons of Alzheimer's on the back and I put a do-rag on. Somebody said, Mike, you just came as yourself. So, yeah, no, I'm with you on this, okay? Maybe we should just get toilet paper and toilet paper people's houses.
Probably.
And you know something else we had back east was Mischief Night. The night before Halloween, that's when we went out and made trouble. But James, thank you for being here, buddy.
Again, it's my pleasure.
Okay, we'll
Good
do it
to
again
see you.
sometime. I want to talk about
All
Jewish
right.
issues one of these days.
Oh, all right.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
We'll
that's
do that.
cool.
Okay, because we both have Yiddishkeit. All right, Street Talk and Other Stuff. Mike Mad Dog Magnati, thanks for being here. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.